Welcome into another episode of That's Boxing Podcast. I'm Dust.
I'm Coach.
And we got some fights coming up this weekend that we need to break down.
Yeah, man, it's a big fight weekend. Keyshawn Davis.
We got a couple cards, but Top Rank is top of the list. Should we just dive right into it?
Yeah, man, let's get to the business.
Oh, the business from the businessman.
That's right.
You said you watched like the whole little promo video?
I did. I watched the Top Rank, whatever. There will be smoke or whatever they're calling this thing.
Any juicy tidbits?
I'd say Keyshawn is looking extremely confident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's looking great. He's training. His training looks intense. His demeanor seems extremely confident to the point of maybe too confident, a little too cocky, a little Teofimo Lopez kind of energy crackling off of him. A lot of self-talk, a lot of I'm the best kind of energy. And that's fine, whatever. You know, that's kind of normal in the boxing world. But Baranchyk is, definitely more reserved, and his information and his part of the documentary thing was more about what he does to support Ukraine by having fundraisers and things like that. And his training was a little bit more chill, a little bit more lonely, a little less bombastic, and less people around him.
Right.
Looks like a smaller circle, it's going to be an exciting fight. They definitely hyped it up pretty good, and they're starting to put some energy into it. But it's the Top Rank show. I think we know how this is going to go down.
Interesting. Okay, well, hold on now. I'm gonna throw some cold water on that.
Me and myself.
Me and yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see Keyshawn's prediction for the fight?
No. What was his exact prediction?
First round knockout.
First round knockout.
He was pretty confident, which is something he's never done before. It's cool to see Keyshawn up there at the press conference, like dressed like the businessman, straight up in the suit. And you're right. I mean, he's confident, all up in the dude's face, pulling on the belt. Like, you might as well just give me this now, all that. And he looks like the bigger man for sure, which we knew he was going to be. But you see him side by side. He's got height, reach. Looks like he's got weight on him.
Well, he might still have some weight on him. Baranchyk was like, "Hey, you got to make weight before we worry about anything."
Yeah, right.
So.
I mean, maybe that'll be a problem. It'd be interesting to see how that comes into play.
Well, he might be the kind of guy that sweats off 10 pounds in the last 2 days in the sauna.
And then puts on 20 right
exactly.
before.
Yeah, heavy water load, and then dump it all in the sauna right before you hit the scale.
But nice to see him confident, but it's a bit disrespectful, I think, how first round knockout in your first title fight. I'm like, hey, man, this is a good boxer that you're going up against.
So let's look at the numbers. The kid's got how many professional boxing matches? 8? 12?
I think it's 12.
12 with 8 knockouts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many years did it take him to accrue that record?
So Keyshawn's first fight was in 2021, February 20. Oh, my birthday, 2021. So a couple years. I mean, he's been relatively active. Like, he had 4 fights that first year. 2022, he's got 3 fights. 23, he fought 3 times. 2024. 3 times, and now we're here.
So we'll say 12 fights in 3 years, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this reminds me, I really like Keyshawn. And a quick aside here, you see they billing him now as Keyshawn because Davis is already taken.
Right.
You can't be another Davis.
No.
So it's a great name. It's very catchy. I like it. Keyshawn, now compare him to another silver medalist. Not Dennis Baranchyk, but the great Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, how many fights into his career did he have his first title shot?
22.
18.
Oh, I was gonna...
So close. But how many years did it take him to get 18 fights? From 1996 to 1998. So let's look at how. Okay, so from October 96 to October 98, took 2 years to
2
get
years exactly.
18 fights. Whereas taking Keyshawn 3 years to get 12.
Right. Is that just a product of the times? People controlling the pace, because another thing, just comparing. We were talking about Abdullah Mason, who's also fighting on this card. They still have him kind of buried on the card for how exciting he is.
Where's his promos?
I don't get why he's not like the third or top billing, but he's got 16 fights. Still hasn't fought for a world title. BoxRec doesn't even have the years on his. That's so funny.
That. Come on, BoxRec.
When was his first pro fight? Let's see how long.
Seems
it's
like
taken.
It wasn't that long ago. Probably about 3 years ago. Man, well, he's definitely he should be, on the top of the, maybe not, obviously not the top of the bill. This is the Keyshawn show, but third down, that'd be fair. Like, they're really slow cooking him.
Mm-hmm.
And after his last performance, I'm sure they're a little careful with the matchmaking.
So about the same, November 2021.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little over 3 years. So more fights, but more fights faster, right? Fighting 4 or 5 times a year because he's already up to 16 fights with 14 KOs. But different styles, right? Like the quality of opposition that Keyshawn has faced is significantly better.
He came flying out the gate with that Olympic pedigree, and the star was already shining on him before he, when your pro debut is televised, that's a big deal.
But his best win to date is Pedraza, and when we talked about this last episode a little bit, I think there's just some recency bias because I remember in summer 2024 he fought Medueno, right, and he got a unanimous decision. But he didn't look that great. And we were saying like, maybe he needs a little more time to figure out how to deal with like a really tough guy, pressure fighter, so that. And then he comes out and fights Lemos, who was definitely a step up, but who came in overweight and didn't look trained.
Looked soft.
And he stopped him in the second round. And everyone said, he's ready for a title fight. He's amazing. And I'm going, wait a minute. Like off the back of a mediocre performance, you have a great performance against a mediocre opponent who wasn't ready, and now all of a sudden you're the best. So I think I give Baranchyk more of a chance in this fight, certainly than the odds makers or other people, just because I think he's obviously a skilled opponent with a ton of experience, a ton more experience, and I don't think he's coming there to lay down and give up the belt in his first defense. And I just think it's going to be a tougher night. I do think Keyshawn, I mean, we go down the list of, speed, power, all that stuff, and maybe something will shake out. But he's the bigger, stronger fighter, but he's not the more experienced fighter. And I definitely favor him in the fight, but I think it'll be a closer fight than people think.
Yeah, Baranchyk went pro back in 2015, so he's definitely been in the pro game a lot longer. Of course, they both have similar accolades in the amateur game, but far removed from each other in that realm of competition, as they can't win the silver medal the same time in the same year. Obviously, Keyshawn won it just not too long ago, and then Baranchyk was back in the that must have been in the 2012 Olympics. Was probably when he won it. If he had gone pro in 2015, and he's definitely got the feet to get it done. He's got he's hard to bet against these Eastern European dudes. They've got so much talent, so much skill, kind of hiding beneath this calmer demeanor, this kind of just like workman like character.
It's the same thing when people said Ortiz is going to walk through a Bohocek, and it's like, this is that was a big step up for him, and I think this is a big step up for Keyshawn.
Well, Dennis is saying it was hard to win the belt, and it's going to be harder to keep it. I mean, that's wisdom. That's the sound of a wise grown man.
Right.
Keyshawn's saying, I'm going to knock him out in the first round.
Exactly.
That sounds like a kid who got the keys to the candy store and he thinks he's just going to get whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Now, you got to appreciate these guys. They build a character. They sell the fight. We can't judge the outcome on the fight based on the things they choose to say in the lead up. They got to say something. They got to be somebody.
Yeah.
But, these quiet, calm, confident Ukrainian-style fighters like Baranchyk, they're really hard to bet against. And I think he's way too smart to get knocked out in the first round.
He's also got a PhD in physical education, and he's 1-0 as a bare knuckle boxer. Well, I don't know where you throw that in.
Those are both great things to have in life and in boxing.
Well, go down the list. Okay, so experience, we're giving it to Baranchyk.
Yeah.
Right? How about power?
I'm going to give that one to Keyshawn.
Keyshawn, 8 knockouts in 12 fights. Baranchyk,
this boxer
9 knockouts in 19 fights.
Yeah, so he's got a better KO percentage. And after the Lemos performance, you can tell the kid's got dynamite in his hands right now.
He's got power.
He's been working, been training. I think his training style he's been using is really helping build his punch strength. He's not nearly okay. Keep going down the list.
So how about defense?
Baranchyk himself said that the strengths that Keyshawn has are his stance and his defense.
Okay.
Stance and defense.
I think Keyshawn's a very clean boxer, right? Like he boxes the way I imagine a coach wants to see their boxer box. He looks like he's in position
Yeah.
most of the time, right? So I don't know if I necessarily favor either one defensively. I feel like they're both defensively sound.
Yeah, Barancek's got his kind of own little way to do things. Certainly not how a traditional American boxing coach would teach somebody, but he was able to defend himself pretty well so far in his career, and especially against the awkward angles of Emmanuel Navarrete. Showed good defense in that fight, even though their two awkward styles made one heck of a weird fight. But I think he's savvy enough, and his positioning is going to be better. His footwork is going to be better.
So that was my next question, footwork.
Yeah, and defensively, so those kind of tie into each other.
Right.
To defend himself with his feet rather than hand blocking and slipping perfectly.
Barancek is definitely the harder fighter to train for, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Like, who are you going to
certainly.
get in the gym to mimic that?
Yeah,
It's tough.
it's going to be tough.
Ring IQ.
Well, IQ comes from experience, right? That's the only way to grow your IQ. What does IQ stand for?
Intelligence quotient.
Damn, you must have a high one. Okay, so at age 36, to Keyshawn's...
So stamina, you're going stamina, leaning Keyshawn.
Well, yeah, so that's the balance, right?
Right.
You know, if you're going to...
Wisdom,
Yeah,
youth.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, there's no fountain, man. You can't get that youth back, but you can get IQ.
Right. So the picture we just painted is a pretty even, favoring down the list of attributes. So why is the fight line so skewed? And do you agree with it? So right now, money line, Barancek plus 425. So Keyshawn Davis is a minus 650 favorite. For the knockout, only plus 175 for Keyshawn stopping him. So still plus money to get the knockout, but plus 1,800 Barancek to get the stoppage. Obviously, that's a long shot. Decision plus 650 for Barancek, minus 125 for Davis. So people saying the most logical or most favored outcome is Davis by decision.
That's kind of wide, right? 650?
He's a wide favorite. Like when I look at this, well, yeah, you tell me, you think it's that wide? Are you feeling
No.
Davis that strong over Barancek?
Yeah, man, these odds makers, it's so confusing to me. I always use the same analogy on the pod and in the gym and everything. Like, if they fought 10 times, right? If they fought 10 times, I would say that, at their best and on top of their game with no injuries and no bullshit, I think Davis wins 7 times out of 10.
Okay, so it's a 70-30 fight.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
I mean, 70-30 is pretty strong,
Yeah.
relatively.
I think it's because I personally admire Keyshawn, and I think his looks good, punching. I've got that recency bias of Lemos. I see the star rising, and it's hard to see that. Yeah, I think he could lose 3 times. Yeah, but the majority of the time he's going to be able to pull it off.
Could he stop him?
I think that comes down to not what he does, but what Barancek doesn't do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have a good performance. Even in the Lemos fight, while he's boasting now, Keyshawn's boasting about, he hit me, I didn't feel no power in the first round.
Right.
Okay, and then as soon as I hit him with a hard right hand, he went down. I'm like, well, maybe that's more about what he didn't do than what you did.
Right.
He didn't prepare.
Right.
So, sometimes you get in the ring and you're the hammer.
Right.
And sometimes you get in there and you're the nail.
Could it be an ugly fight where you can't maybe tell who's winning, and then at the end it's a split decision, 2-1, and Barancek somehow holds the title? Got to take it off the champ, some BS like that.
Well, this fight does remind me slightly of another East Coast young fighter that kind of had his moment to shine and grab a title young and early, and that would have been the young Ray Ford when he took the title off of Kolmatov.
And then lost
In
it
a
immediately.
fucking exciting last round KO.
Yep.
TKO, rather. TKO there. But I think it might be something like that, where it's like, it's going to be a nail biter, and it's going to come down to something spectacular in the late rounds for somebody to pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. The kid seems so young, and, it's hard to say. But if I had to put money down on it, honestly, I would put $1 down on Keyshawn Davis by decision.
By decision, so the minus 125. A little more value there than the money line. I'm just for the sake of our podcast, I'm just gonna go hard right now. Money line Dennis Brenchek plus 425.
You know, it's been a while since we were opposing.
Yeah.
So let's go toe to toe.
I mean, it's looking at the numbers, right? If you ask me, I think Keyshawn's gonna get the win. When I close my eyes, he gets his hand raised. I don't know if it's by stoppage. I agree with you 100%. I think if he does stop him, it's more a lucky punch or something that Brenchek just doesn't do more than something that Keyshawn does do. But at plus 425, I just think it's a bit too disrespectful on him, and I think it's a small bet for me on him maybe pulling off the upset.
Yeah.
But exciting fight, great fight. I mean, even if there's so many fights that are so lopsided, and even though the betting line is lopsided on this one, I think this is a good fight and great to see a fight that's that competitive at the top of a top-ranked card.
Yeah, it's hard to know who Bob rigged this for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of rigging, let's go down the card a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've also got the return of Jared Anderson, who last I saw in the flesh was, rendered effectively completely unconscious, knocked out of the ring. Really tough to see. But he's back. The prospect continues, and I assume, no disrespect, that this is intended to be a get-right fight. He fights Mario Calais, who's 12-3 with one. He's been stopped once. He's got 10 knockouts, and he's fought around Europe primarily.
Greek guy.
He's Greek. He's an Orthodox fighter. Haven't seen a lot of tape on him, but I'm almost just deferring to Top Rank, and they obviously didn't want Anderson to fight Bacoli. They thought it was too soon. He went for it anyways. I'm sure they were pissed because it definitely derailed the hype train on him, and I think they got to get him back on track, and this is surely intended to be that.
Yeah, this guy's not a gigantic heavyweight, weighing in about 230 in his last fights, 232, 227. So he's not going to have that big body. It looks like his nose got broke one way. Maybe Anderson can get back in there and smash it back the other way.
Cosmetic surgery.
Straighten it out for him. Giving him, looks like an Anderson win all day.
Yeah. Go for the stoppage.
Get right fight for him. Yeah. If he's really wants to keep boxing, this is what he's going to do and what he needs to do, honestly. That's
really the biggest question about him. I mean, I'm a big Jared Anderson fan and a believer, and obviously he should have deferred and maybe grown his career more slowly and built up the skill set, and that's why you do that, so you have more tools in the toolbox before you get in there with a Bacoli. But the biggest question mark around him is he self-admittedly is like, yeah, boxing's okay. It's my job. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, I don't know if that is the ticket.
Yeah. It's got to be your love, your passion, your everything, your entire existence.
Yeah.
No boxing, no life.
Well, he's a minus 1,600 favorite, and that seems correct. We've also got the return of Xander Zayas.
Oh, XZ, X to the Z.
XZ, and he's facing Sloa Spomer.
Sloa Spomer, who did not get any airtime on the documentary hype show, Smoketown Fight Flick, Top Rank YouTube thing I watched today. Because, he probably hasn't even made the flight to the United States when they were filming that.
Well, it looks like he's never made the flight to the United States because he's fought all in Germany, one fight in Dubai, and now he's in Madison Square Garden fighting Xander Zayas.
Well, he's undefeated, and that looks good on paper. Xander's definitely, a star on the rise in his own right. He had a main event last year, and he's back on the co-main, but that's no problem. It's his city right there, working out at home. I think he's going to put on a show. This Spomer might be this could be, as we like to talk about, these potentials of the night, the upset of the night. I mean, this would be the most ridiculous upset of the night.
You think so the odds are actually closer on this one than the other fights we talked about. So Zayas is a minus 750 favorite. Spomer's plus 500.
Well, despite the guy's record, this is going to say like when Munguia got knocked out by Bruno Saracen.
Sure, which we predicted, of course.
Whose name I'll never forget now. But when we first heard his name, we said, who?
Yeah, I think I called him a cab driver.
Yeah, so Sloa Spomer, where he's getting that same kind of credit right now, where if he comes over here and shocks the world, we'll never forget that name.
Yeah. Well, are you feeling an upset? Are you feeling so Zayas by knockout?
No, I'm not feeling the upset. I'm just saying that would be the most, unexpected upset for me.
I think Anderson getting upset
But he's already been down. He's already
True. That's true.
You know, that would be confirmation of all our fears that it would be just another loss. And if he loses badly, it would be another like, all right, man, maybe you shouldn't do
Maybe
this
he doesn't
anymore.
have a chin. Maybe this. Maybe that.
Maybe he's washed already. Maybe his heart's not in it. You know.
Well, Zayas by decision minus 135, and that's because it's been a little bit since he stopped anyone. December 2023. So he only had 2 fights in 2024, but both were unanimous decisions. I think I bet the knockout on both of those. And
well, he was the guy for a minute, but
he had a nice little run, but a lot of decisions for him. I don't know. It's an interesting fight. It's hard to know when Top Rank kind of pulls these guys out of thin air for people to fight, and you're like, well, what am I going on here? Like I watched a couple rounds on a handy cam from like in Germany. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mason's on the card as well. Abdullah Mason, the rising star, facing a tough opposition. He's coming off a loss, but this Manuel Jaimes he's been in there with Rolando Romero, and anytime you get in the ring with a guy like that, makes you just a little bit better at boxing, even if you lost.
Yeah, interesting. They're building Mason, surely, slowly but surely. But he's still a minus 1,600 favor in this fight. And I think as long as people, I don't know, don't recognize the opponent's name as much as they probably should, he's going to remain that favorite. But, you look at the last fight, he was that favored too, and he was down, twice in the fight. We had 4 knockdowns in the fight, and then the 5th and final. This was a crazy fight. He did look in control. Like, it didn't necessarily feel like he was going to lose the fight, but he got tested. And that's against a guy who was 26-5. And I think Manuel Jaime, if you're looking for something to fade $10 on a crazy upset, this would be my pick.
Wow, yeah. He went the distance with Romero. He's got 0 knockout losses, so he's never been knocked out in his 2 losses, but he's got 11 knockout wins in his 16 wins. So the guy's got a punch on him, and Mason's shown that he's droppable.
Yeah.
That's called getting your chin checked, but he got right back up, and he did have his composure. Coached a fight last weekend at the Golden Gloves where our guy got dropped in the first round, basically the first exchange.
Wow.
And it was one of those like punch lands, and then his butt hits the canvas like a 1-2, pop, boom, and you're like, oh shit, the man's down. But he got up and he composed himself and he got back into it, and then we got him through it, and I coached him through it, and he got through and won the fight.
Yeah,
never got dropped again, never got hurt again. Managed to hurt his opponent a couple times, didn't put him down, but boxed well enough to secure the victory. And going off of that same old adage we always say, boxing is one round at a time. And that's how we secured the victory. And I talking to my fighter afterwards, I said, Kieran, you okay? He's fine. Doctor clears him, no concussion, nothing. He said, yeah, man, I was just a little cold, and I got caught trying to, they were trading hooks, and just didn't see it coming, knocked him on his butt,
Right.
But it wasn't a concussive blow. It was what was typically called a flash knockdown, where you just knocked off balance, and it's not just a push. It's not, it's more than that. You are knocked down, right? The flash is like a camera went off in your eyes, and you're like, oh, why am I sitting on the ground? It's not like you're, bludgeoned to
you're
the ground.
recovered. When you stand up, you're recovered. You're ready to fight.
What we saw happen to Jared Anderson, that was a bludgeoning beatdown. There was nothing flash about those knockdowns. That was like concussive car accident style brain damage happening in that ring.
Right.
What we saw happen to Mason was a lot like what happened to my guy Kieran at the Golden Gloves, flash knockdown, and he's on his feet and he's totally fine. So, but the opponent's watching that tape saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get him," and they're gonna be trying to get to him.
And it seems like the biggest risk of that is A, you're down a point, and B, you're in your head now. I got to get it back. So now you're reckless. And to your point, stay calm. Okay, you're down. You got to win the next 2 rounds, and then you're good.
Yeah.
So win the next 2 rounds. That's the response.
I would just be thinking, God damn it, I'll never be the next Floyd Mayweather.
Right, never been
or
down.
Gennady Golovkin.
Right. Well, I hate to break it to you. there's more reasons than that you'll never be the next. Yeah. Well, is this is the most likely upset to me.
Okay.
Manuel Jaime.
Okay, is there any other fights we want to talk about?
Yeah,
on
we
this
got to
card?
talk about across the pond the next day. If you don't get enough boxing Friday night on ESPN, wake up and look for Jack Catterall
Wake up.
fighting for the super lightweight belt against Arnold Barboza Jr. I think this might be the most competitive fight of the weekend of any of these matchups, and certainly the line reflects that. Catterall is a minus 255 favorite, so definitely the favorite. Barboza plus 200, but much closer. Catterall kind of quietly amassing a pretty good resume. Beat Regis Prograis handedly by unanimous decision. Dropped him a couple times. Got his revenge against Josh Taylor. Unanimous decision against George Linares. His only loss is that split decision loss to Taylor that was relatively controversial. And now stepping it up for a title to fight Barboza, who's 31-0 with 11 knockouts.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight because both these guys like to sit back and let the other guy create problems for themselves. Mm-hmm. Like we say in the gym, some guys you got to make openings. Other guys, will wait for openings. And these guys are both waiters, and they might be waiting on each other. Probably a slow start, but the pressure's on the kid Catterall to make something happen in his hometown. I think he's going to force the action maybe a little bit more than we've seen before. This is interesting. This is for the WBO World Super Light, but check it out. I love all the caveats here. It's like, oh, you're fighting for a title? Yeah, which one? WBO. Oh, cool. It's the interim belt. Oh, okay, cool. And it's vacant. Oh, okay, cool. So what belt is it? What the fuck? Who is the WBO actual super lightweight champion?
Well, there isn't one, right?
This is the interim. Like, how is it vacant and interim? Like, what does that mean?
So is it the interim?
Interim's like when it's champion is in recess.
Yeah, it's an email belt, right? But if you win, you're the belt holder. Then you have to fight to defend it.
But who holds the actual belt?
I don't think anybody does.
At 100 or at super lightweight, which is 140.
It's
right?
the IBO belt, right?
WBO.
Oh, it's the WBO. So let's look.
Oh, I could click on it right here. Shit, BoxRec for the click. Oh, that didn't take me anywhere. We got to sort this out. We got the computers going. We need to fax here because I understand what an interim belt is, but I don't understand how an interim belt can be vacant.
Why is their website so awful? Okay, you have to scroll through. So we got lightweight is Brenchek, junior lightweight.
We got super. This is super light. And for you guys that don't understand the weight classes out there, don't worry. It confuses me all the time too because most of them have two names. You can be a super lightweight at the same exact time that you're a junior welterweight.
I don't think this is the WBO because Teofimo's the junior welterweight / super lightweight.
That's what I'm saying. This is why this is an interim belt. That's not a real belt. So
they're next in line to. But why would it be an interim belt if Teo
has the belt?
Has the belt.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's like, what does this even mean? A vacant interim, like the interim's just there if the guy goes off to war or something or gets injured, and they decide not to strip him.
Okay, so it's a final. So I think they misspoke. So I thought it was the IBO, which makes sense because they don't have a champion. But it's the. You're right. It is the WBO, but it's a final eliminator. So if whoever wins this fight is next in line to fight Teo.
Okay. Well, I'm just reading this off BoxRec as well, so maybe it's how they interpreted it. And I guess interim and next in line are interchangeable.
Yeah, but interim is supposed to be you are the champ.
I am the champ because the champ has got a problem.
There's some caveat on it because it's only interim.
Yeah. It's just these guys always making up more belts.
True.
They got.
But the winner of this fight, should be in line for Teo. Obviously, they tend to find a way to get that, but maybe get some step aside money. So that's what they're really fighting for.
Just like when he fought Regis Prograis, it was for the WBO super light belt, but that was the international version.
Right. Well, there's always those.
Whoa.
And we're probably going to get some great biased British announcers in this fight.
Oh, lovely boxing.
Always the best. Beautiful.
Just lovely.
Arnold Barboza couldn't even tie his shoe, but Catterall, everything he does is amazing.
No, I did spend a little time in London, but I'm still rooting for Barboza on this one. I think he could get it done.
You think he could get it done?
I think he could get it done.
So is this, if you had to pick an upset of the weekend, is this what you're going?
You know, these British dudes kind of struggle with Mexican fighters, but this guy doesn't fight with Mexican style. This Barboza Jr., this guy, he's from USA anyways, but still a Mexican dude. But he doesn't have that Mexican style.
I will say,
I'm a little split on this one, honestly. This might be, I could say this might be snoozer of the weekend.
It's probably going to be a low action fight. I mean, neither of these guys are known for stopping opponents. The line for the fight to go the distance is -475. So this is probably a decision. I wonder. So Catterall by decision is -140, which is what I would favor. You can go exact winning method and say Jack Catterall to win by unanimous decision -110. Still not even great value there. Split decision +700. So if you give any respect on the other side, maybe that's a path. But you're getting pretty specific here. I would probably just go Catterall decision.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably a smart move. But I'll oppose you on that one, and I'm going to say Barboza by knockout. Round 7.
Barboza by knockout, round 7. Okay, all right. I love it.
Mark my words. I'm looking at the rest of the card here, and it's just like the most British sounding. It's Reese and William and Connor and Alfie.
It's the whole royal family.
Like, fucking, what the fuck?
All right, let's do your little. I forget all your questions. Like the
all right,
most likely upset.
So what's the fight of the weekend? What's going to be the one that gets you up out of your seat? The one that gets you knocking the popcorn bowl over? You know, the dog's jumping around wondering what's going on because you're yelling at the big screen. What's the fight of the weekend?
So it's a tie. And it's got to be, you have to say Abdullah Mason every time. Because every time he fights, it's a great fight.
He definitely got the fight of the weekend last time he fought.
And the businessman Branchek is a good fight. It's going to be good.
I agree with that. Those are two good picks. And really depends on what happens here. But I think the main event is going to be the fight of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what fighter is most likely to get knocked down? Who's going to touch the canvas? Hey, and it can happen to the best of us. Even the great and powerful David Benavidez touched the canvas with 2 gloves last weekend.
True. I think we have to go Marios Colias because he's been stopped. He's 3 losses, but he's been stopped. And I gotta somewhere in my gut believe that Jared Anderson wants this win legitimately.
Yeah, he's always had a good punch on him. And if this guy can't hang in there, he's definitely going down. We always like to say Mason's op is going to touch the canvas, but this one went the distance with Romero, who's got a good punch on him too. So, and I think Mason should probably settle in and box a little smarter this fight. And if his coaches are probably urging him to, don't rush it this time, kid, huh? Why don't you use that jab a little bit and don't stay in the pocket until we figure this guy out? So Mason might not drop and stop a man this time, and that might not be the worst thing in the world when you're racking up fights and looking to be a superstar. You need experience.
Get some
rounds. You got to get the rounds.
So you agree with that? Is he the most likely to hit the canvas?
Yeah. You know, when it comes to the heavyweights, it always puts him in a higher percentage, higher likelihood of touching the old fuzzy canvas.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we got to say, what's the snoozer? What's the most boring fight of the weekend? What's the one that makes you go make another bag of popcorn?
So again, a bit of I'm going to say Catterall Barboza.
Yeah.
You just got 2 patient fighters. But Xander Zayas has kind of put on some snoozers recently. I mean, really dominant performances where he never looks like he's going to stop the other guy.
But yeah, there's not a lot of in-fight excitement, not a lot of momentum. Once he has momentum, he'll hold it and kind of keep it rumbling along like a slow-moving train.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't really, start getting flashy or putting the gas down hard. So that's not a bad call. That one might just be kind of like, all right, well, the main event's coming.
Yep. Like, all right.
Okay.
10 rounds. Cool. Unanimous decision.
Okay, and then we already went over upset, didn't we?
Biggest upset. What are you going with? What's your final pick?
Oh, man. Realistically, a big upset has to be attached to a bigger fight, right? So we have to look at the more important fights of the weekend here. Is there any potential for an upset here from the bigger fights? And I will say again, yes, Zayas losing to Slava Spomer, it would be extremely upsetting because nobody knows this guy. You're supposed to win, kid. So that would be a weird loss, especially if he loses badly. The way that Jaime Munguia
That would
did.
be a huge upset. If he really,
What the fuck is happening?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's the biggest like shit the bed moment for sure. Anybody else can lose a fight, and it's okay. You know, Davis could lose this fight by decision. Okay, that's fine. Boxing goes on, but something like that is definitely going to be shocking.
Well, let's close it out with the Top Rank special, and if we're feeling it this weekend.
Okay.
So for those of you just tuning in, where have you been? Listen to all our past episodes. But every time Top Rank puts on a card, Top Rank is known as a promotional organization for cooking the books and fixing every fight for their fighters. They just have the most lopsided odds, and this card is no exception, except for maybe the main event, which is actually looking pretty decent. But the line's still heavily on Keyshawn. So we like to build what we call the Top Rank special, which is a parlay of all the Top Rank fighters on the card, money line victory.
Yeah, it won't be long before this is one of those quick picks at the top of your DraftKings page.
Yeah.
When you first log in, because we're pretty good at this stuff.
So the Top Rank special for this Friday night is Abdullah Mason, Jared Anderson, Xander Zayas, and Keyshawn Davis, all money line. And that adds up to a surprising, we've done this before, where it's still like minus 1,500.
That happened to me a couple weeks ago.
Where you're like, how is it minus 1,500 for a 5-pick parlay? That's how. But this time, minus 213. You like it? You think all those guys are going to win?
I think all those guys are going to win. I mean, the Keyshawn one, that's the dicey one, you know. But I did say he was going to win. But last time I did this, I did like an 8-pick, like all the way down to the undercard and everything.
Well, that's
and
just
one
insane.
dude blew it for me. One dude blew it for me on the whole thing. But I was still only going to get like $1 or something, you know, because you know how I roll.
Yeah,
$1 Chuck over here.
You're a big better. Bet $100, win 147. I might have to sleep on this, but maybe I should do it right now. Listeners, should I do it? Is it?
Do it, Dust. Do it. That's
Top
our one
Rank
listener
special.
that's sitting in the window over here.
Top Rank special. It's just fun to hit on a 4-pick parlay, and it just shows you what bullshit Top Rank is.
Well, we'll see. They're losing their deal with ESPN.
Yeah, what are they going to do?
I don't know. Everybody's going to DAZN.
Yeah.
Even, what's that other British promotion just teamed up with DAZN?
How many? Did I the Tiger go to DAZN? They're already, I guess, on DAZN.
I thought that was a ESPN.
That's the
ESPN.
Canadian. The Canadian one.
Yeah.
Maybe. How many promotional groups would have to go to DAZN for you to finally get another subscription?
My wife is still paying for it.
Oh, so you're on. You're just a
We've
freeloader.
had it, yeah.
Love that.
Dude, that's what being married's all about.
Love that for you.
Yeah, of course. I love my wife. And our DAZN account that she probably doesn't know that she's paying for.
All right, Hot Seat. Usyk says he has 2 fights left before retirement. Who do you want to see him fight?
You and me.
Could fight us both at the same time.
Okay. 2 guys left, 2 more fights.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know, man. Just fucking retire. Okay. Daniel Dubois 2, settle the beef.
So,
everybody's
so this
always,
guy, so Usyk has to beat everybody twice.
Yeah, he's the 2 times, yeah.
Okay.
And then finish off with facing somebody super dangerous, Martin McCauley. And
I was going Bacoli.
Yeah.
Because that's just an insane fight. That's a crazy fight.
Did you hear the rumor that Bacoli and Joshua was made, and then it got squashed right away?
Like now it was made or previously?
Like now. It was at a fight this weekend. They were interviewing somebody
Joshua.
ringside.
No.
And they said it's going to be it's going to be in Africa. It's going to be the biggest fight. It's going to be like Rumble, and it's going to be like, the Thrilla in Manila and the fucking what was the other one they did?
Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But then they immediately shot that down and said we haven't talked about that at all. But
That's a terrible fight for him to take.
yeah, terrible fight.
I mean, Bacoli's the boogeyman in a totally unfair way. Like, he manhandled Jared Anderson. Great prospect. Come on. Stop. Like, he's big. He's got, nifty hands. He's got fast hands, and he's clearly powerful, but he's flat-footed as hell, and he's open and there to get hit. And I think Joshua could beat him if he gets his senses, but it's like, how many times is Joshua going to rebuild his career back up to a big fight?
Yeah, he's definitely in rebuilding phase. He shouldn't be taking any big puncher fights right now.
We want to see Zhang Bacoli. That's the fight.
That'd be cool. Two big bad dudes.
Yeah, just okay.
Yeah.
Have at it. Let's see what happens. Other boxing news, Sarasa Munguia finalizing a May rematch.
Of course, yeah. And he's probably going to take care of business, Munguia.
I got to believe that. I think Munguia will be favored even in...
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Canelo making the skull fight for Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, fight that no one wants to see.
No, but he's going to stay busy while he waits for Crawford, who posted a picture on Instagram of a scale with a weight of 186 pounds.
I saw that, but that's just.
But for you guys listening out there, everybody walks around it bigger than their fight weight, and everybody manipulates media. He could have been holding some dumbbells in his hands while they took that picture. You never know.
And just, I don't know. I don't put anything on that. I mean, his last fight was in the summer. He's been eating all winter, chilling, doing nothing.
He's notoriously a guy who stays in shape, stays in the gym, stays fit. So,
but what's his, do we know his average fight night weight?
Yeah, I would love to have all those stats and details. I'm constantly trying to explain to people about what it means to cut weight and what it means to rehydrate and what weight classes really are. And, I remember watching old fights back in the day, and it was like Marvin Hagler versus John Mugabe, and it said it was 160 pounds. And I was like, how are these 160-pound dudes?
Right.
Because I didn't know yet that they weren't 160-pound dudes while they were fighting. They were probably 180-pound dudes while they were fighting.
Yeah.
And I was back in the 80s, too, where it was like, some of these dudes looked like they definitely had taken some supplemental muscle-building, shoulder-bulking substances.
Mm-hmm. Creatine.
Yeah.
If you could wave a magic wand and make boxing...
Creatine. Hey, I'm off the creatine, okay?
Yeah, sure you are. I see you over
here.
here.
I had to cut it out of my diet so I can make weight.
Riddled with pimples, just screaming. The second we get off this podcast, this dude's pissed. If you could wave a magic wand and make boxing have fight night weigh-ins, would you do it?
Fight night weigh-ins. So no rehydration at all.
Just, do whatever you want, but you got to weigh in.
No, you can't, because that would be the 24 hours gives you a chance to cancel fights. Because if a guy blows weight, you're like, right. Bro, there's no fucking way we're fighting you.
But then what?
You don't want to wait till 2 hours before the fight to find out it's canceled. You need 24 hours to find a replacement. Oftentimes on big fights, they have backup guys in position, ready to go. They'll pull them off the undercard.
Have them right there, ready to go.
I think it's just too close for this isn't even about boxing. This is about event management.
Okay. So you're a no for the logistics.
Logistics on the no. But I would like a culture of people fighting closer to their natural weight with less extreme weight cutting, because it's dangerous. It's how people die in this sport. If you don't rehydrate properly because you sucked yourself out in the sauna, then your raisin brains bouncing around in your empty shoebox of a skull, and you're going to have too much damage up top, and that's how guys die.
I wonder if you did do weigh-ins, whatever, an hour before the fight, 2 hours before the fight, you would have less people missing weight, because, you're not trying to cut. You're not even in that mind. Like you're basically walking around at the weight that you're going to fight at, and that's it. And there's no reason to cut. So why would you miss weight? Like if you're not on weight the night before, because you're not going to cut before you get in the ring.
No, you can't go. No.
Right?
Exactly. That's what people, they abuse that 24 hours with whatever resources they have available, with whatever kind of team.
So here's what you do. You just bake a rehydration clause into the whole sport, right? And you say, okay, fight's at 147, so you have to weigh 147 an hour before the fight. We weigh everybody 1 hour before the fight. You got to weigh 147 or under, right? Then the day before the fight, or even 48 hours before the fight, you weigh in. And if you're more than a pound over or whatever, then
let's talk about the backup.
It's canceled. Yeah, it's done. You're out.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, because that sounds crazy. Like the system we have now isn't.
Right.
The system we have now is absolutely insane. It's so hard to explain to people that aren't involved in the sport at all why you would want to suck yourself down to like the smallest possible weight.
And it
then
favors...
put all the... right before you have a fucking fight that involves risking your life.
And it favors rich boxers, man.
Exactly.
People that can afford IV. And even if they try to make that stuff illegal, it's like, okay, so you're like watching me in my hotel room. You're watching me at home. Like, come on.
Exactly.
I got snack nutrition.
Even the local fight, we don't have all that, but we have a really clean team. We have a nutritionist that works with us, and we rehydrate properly. And my guy put on, I don't know, 10 or 12 pounds probably in 24 hours.
That's a lot.
The other guy, well, of course, I didn't see a scale. He looked like he probably put on 20. Mm-hmm. But it didn't look like a healthy, happy 20. It looked kind of... You were there. He looked a little... and I see these guys on the scale, so I know how they look like a totally different person in there. He looked a little... He was a little pimply, too. I think he had a really rough weight cut. which would also be eliminated by getting rid of this, and it would make more competitive boxing matches if guys aren't literally dying 24 hours before they're supposed to fight.
You'd also, I think, see a lot because it's always impresses me when you see the weigh-in and people are like a tenth of a pound off under the limit, right? I mean, they're hitting that thing scientifically. Yeah. And I think if you did it this way, you'd have a lot of it's a what did I say? 147 welterweight fight, and they weigh in at 144, and the other guy is 145.
Yeah.
Because it's like
that's more like the amateurs, like
where
you have to be on weight because you fight more than once in tournaments, so you can't go in there and suck yourself down for one fight because you got to do it every night.
Right.
You got to make weight every morning. And I'm getting ready for this Masters competition. Today I was 165 pounds in the afternoon.
Right. And you're walking around close to what you're gonna fight.
Yeah,
right?
I woke up at like 164.2. And then after some working out, and even after eating and hydrating and hitting the sauna. After all that, just a quick soak, 165.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so I know I can make weight easily those 2 days in a row. But fucking check this out. Weigh-ins at 6 in.the morning, brother.
That's brutal.
6 in.the morning.
Are you light when you wake up or heavy?
Oh, everybody's light when you wake up. You always lose weight at night. And every fighter and their coaches should know, so you can calculate these things. You can have it down to a science exactly how much you lose. I lose a lot of weight overnight. Because I drink a lot of water. I drink hot tea before I go to bed. I get up and pee a bunch at night, and you're just burning calories at night. And there's tricks to it too.
Have you ever weighed yourself at night, woke up the next morning, and been heavier?
Never.
I have.
Never.
It blows my mind.
You probably blacked out and went.
It blows my mind.
You're sleepwalking, eating cookies, bro.
My weight. If you really weigh yourself a lot, especially if you're lighter in weight, the fluctuation is shocking. Like I'll fluctuate 8-9 pounds in a 24-hour period. Doing nothing, like not trying to cut weight, nothing. Now that's extreme. Like usually it's more like 4 pounds.
Well, and are you weighing?
Right?
You're consistently making sure you're not weighing yourself with any clothes on.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Obviously, I'm in fight mode. I've been doing this comeback for the last 6 months. I'm on that scale multiple times a day. I'm in tune with my body. I weigh my fucking pre and post movements. I know how everything's operating.
What kind of movements? What are you talking about? Like yoga?
Body moving. Moving things.
Body moving?
Yeah. We be body moving. You know what I'm saying? Taking a shit.
Whoa.
Taking a shit in the morning.
But that's what trips me out. I'll weigh more, and I'm like, I didn't eat anything. Where did I generate mass?
That doesn't make any sense.
Like I just have a.
I think you need to get your scale checked.
No. I got a digital one. It's legit. It's fucking accurate.
All right, Dr. Ozenberg. All right.
It doesn't happen often, but it trips me out. I'm like a little nuclear. I'm generating protons in here.
I fluctuate about 5 pounds a day. I
Yeah.
go up. I put on about 5 pounds of food and water, and then I lose about 3 or 4 pounds overnight.
Yeah.
So if I work out, then I usually just break even. You know what I'm saying? And I work out 6 days of 7. And then on my rest days, I'm going to the sauna. Right. So I'm sweating every day of the week.
Yeah, it's good. Well, when Turkey hires us to redo all of boxing, these are the kind of conversations that'll be happening behind the scenes.
Yeah. Hey, one last thing before we got to go, because, I got to get back to the gym. You like jumping rope?
Do I like jumping rope?
Yeah, I bet you do.
Do I ever?
Would you be interested in jumping rope with other people who like to jump rope?
I sure would.
Well, have I got the thing for you, buddy?
What is it?
It's the jump rope jump off.
The jump rope jump off?
Yeah, it's a cool, exciting event where we all jump rope and you can win prizes and learn new tricks and spend the day having a lot of fun with a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not cool. They're boxing gym heads who like to jump rope, but it's a lot of fun. I remember I think first year I went to the jump rope. Inaugural year. Yes. I just remember the deep trauma of doing. It was the most crosses you could do in a row.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what my number was. It was like 103 or something like that.
Yeah.
I was killing it.
Yeah.
And then dude, literally, I don't even remember who it was. Dude, literally got one more than me.
Cody.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Got one more than me.
Son of a bitch.
And
Cody.
then he hit his shoe. That was it. But it was the one.
It was the one. That's all it takes.
It was brutal.
That's life. That's boxing. That's jumping.
I practiced my crossies for like a year straight.
How many did you get to?
That. Do you remember? It was,
I remember you were trying to go for some record.
It was last year, right? It was maybe it was the year before when we were snowed in, and I was in the garage. And I mean, dude, I literally think that I did crossies for like probably 10 hours over like a 3-day period. And I can't remember. I got to go back and look at the video. I think it was 163.
Okay.
That was my record.
He won at the one last year that you didn't come to because, I don't know, he didn't want redemption or something?
Yeah, because I'm intimidated by him, apparently. I'm coming this year, though. I'm going to
Well,
fuck this guy up.
he won last year with crossovers. Aaron Thompson, my boxer, won with double unders. He did 104 or something.
Jesus.
And then we have a best trick competition, which Cody won as well. And then we have a best like natural performance freestyle event where you don't have to do tricks. You can just show off your rhythm. And it's not all about, it's very friendly competition. But this year the prizes will include brand new box rope from the company. Box Rope, our number one sponsor. And I'll also have some hand wraps up for grabs and some super secret prizes that won't be revealed until the day, which might include such amazing and exciting things such as which you can't even imagine.
Such as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that Coach forgot in his gym bag yesterday.
That was like some political spin right there as I'm making shit up as I go. That sounded like some Trump shit. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the greatest thing ever because I don't actually want to tell you. So it's the most incredible thing. You won't even be able to realize its incredibleness because you'll be so incredible.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
It's amazing. So that's that's this podcast. But for real, March 23rd, you can sign up at thatsboxing.com. Come hang out with us. We'll be there. The boys, Coach and Dust, live in person, celebrity appearances. Autographs. Jumping, dancing, having lots of fun. So look out for that. Sign-ups are live right now. We got room for 20 to 25 people. Come down and make it happen. Have a good time.
All right, we got to get the hell out of here. Until next time, I'm Dust.
I'm Coach.
And that's boxing.